Well, afternoon, Curtis. I
Hi.
think it's been 3 or 4 months since we last caught up. So just how are you personally assessing the season so far for Bristol City?
Work in progress, probably, as you would say, wouldn't we all? I think the last few weeks has probably shown a bit more consistency in performance, something that we've been striving to have. I think some of the injuries and getting people fit and having that first 11 out on the pitch, your real first 11, hasn't happened too many times this season, but a lot of guys have held their hand up and done very well. Probably like a lot of championship coaching staff, we feel like where would we be if you hadn't dropped so many points at different times and made different decisions. But I think that's the championship as it is. But we have to take a lot of positives, especially over the last few weeks. Even with the defeat against Luton, I thought there was a lot of positives. Come back against Millwall again. But there's a couple of things there's no doubt we'll talk about in this press conference. That is the big, the elephant in the room. But at the moment, we're happy enough. But are we ever really happy? No, I think we could be higher in the table with a bit more consistency.
Yeah, the manager discussed set pieces on Tuesday. I think he described it as your Achilles heel. I mean, you've identified the problem. How do you solve the problem?
Well, you have to. I knew this was coming up anyway, so it's fine. We've been working with players individually with a lot of clips. Sometimes film doesn't lie, pictures don't lie. So sometimes you think you're in a good position. I was in a good position. I was this and that, and sometimes you're not. You're in exactly where you should have been. Sometimes then it's the unit, and then sometimes I just think it's that sheer will to keep the ball out of the net and having that determination. And I think there's been kind of a bit of all of that over it. It's not just Luton. It's highlighted in Luton because we played well. I don't think they really opened us up in open play, and we conceded from 2 set pieces. And it's something that we worked on, that we hammered home about where the strengths would be, and it affected us. But we've got to learn from that. We can't kind of just go away from it and think, oh, it's just a bad night or anything like that. It's happened too many times, and it's something that we really need to keep working on. And at the end of the day, if you don't want to head the ball, just let us know. That's what it is, or you can get people in that want to head the ball. So I just think it's disappointing. It's been highlighted. It's something that's happened a few times this season, but we're continuously working on it and working with the players as individuals. And at the end of the day, when they walk out onto that pitch, and it's every press conference that I do, I think, or any time I've probably talked to you, I've said that you've got to do your job. You've got to do your job. You've got to have that, that bloody mindedness to keep the ball out of the net.
And obviously, you're missing Nathan Baker. He'd be a real asset at set pieces. But ultimately, it doesn't not matter what size you are. Should you be able to handle set pieces? Is that almost a basic as a defender?
Well, I think it's like boxing, isn't it? You have a big, good, a good big one and a good small one. The good big one's always going to win. That's what I'm saying. But it's something that we have to work on, and sometimes that determination. You don't have to win the ball. A lot of the time, you just stop your man heading it. So I'm not saying that you have to win it all the time, that you have to do that. There's no doubt that you're missing Nathan, and that's his game, isn't it? That's hence probably why he's had so many injuries, because he's so brave and wants to go and head things. Thomas Callas has been outstanding for us as well. But we talked. I think with the Cardiff game, I think it was 15 crosses into the box and we had 13 first touches on it. So it can be there, but it has to be consistency of it. But it's something that that we're definitely working on. And then we can talk about the players who are playing those positions. Cam Pring, as he played, one of the three. Only this season he's been playing as a winger and then a full back. And then you have to come in. There's no doubt he can head the ball, but sometimes we're in a real big business. It's a professional sport, and sometimes you do get picked up, or you get picked off, or you do switch off. But we've got to be better. There's no doubt about that, as individuals, as a unit.
And if you pick and choose and change the outfield players, no one really notices you make changes every week. When you change the goalkeeper, it does get the attention. So when Max came in for Dan over Christmas period, it caught our attention. We're going to speak to Max today. With regards to the goalkeeping position, is it Max's position to lose or Dan Bentley's to win, or a bit of both?
Well, I think it's a bit of both. And as it's seen, I think even if you look at the team throughout, I think nobody's nailed on really. probably Andy's made himself, undroppable. He's been unbelievable, and Antoine's come in. But again, Naki made an impact when he came on for Antoine the other night. So I think that Max is a young goalkeeper. He's still learning his trade at this level. It's a different level than playing in League One or League Two. There's no doubt about it. And to play consistently against the quality of players that he'll play against. But he's doing very, very well. We can see his confidence. Everyone's different as a player. Some people have something that they really like doing. It's the best part of the game, and they have other goalkeepers have different ways. But I think you can see his confidence. He's trained very well, and the manager's made the decision to put him in on that. Nothing other than that. He's been training really well. Not to say that Bence wasn't, but he's been training well. He deserved an opportunity. The manager thought he should give him the opportunity, and he has. He hasn't sat around and thought, will I, won't I? Said, I feel like I have to make this, and I think he's done well, the kid.
Is Timm Klose still training with you?
Yes, he is. Yeah, Tim came in. The start of the week, he's come in. He was in Switzerland with Basel. He's been training over there. He's been playing with Basel last season. He's come in. He's well known, I think, to all of you and all of us. He's looking to play. It's a position that we've been looking at as well, haven't we? So it gives us a chance to run the rule over him. He's 33, he's experienced, he's not 23, so we have to, it's better to see somebody, I think, live. I think videos and clips and all that are fantastic, but it's great. And I think the biggest thing for me is that he's an experienced Premier League international footballer, and he's willing to come over and show us what he can do. He's not sat saying, I can do this and do that. If you want me to come over and have a look, no problem, I'll do it. And I think that is a real positive from anybody.
And on one hand, you're in no rush to make a decision because he's a free agent, and yet you are short of numbers. Are you close to making a decision one way or the other?
Yeah, I think Nigel will make the decision. As you know, Nigel's quite straight. I think we've had a real good session with him today. Tim, we didn't get a chance for him to play in the reserve game the other day. There was a problem with the paperwork, but it's just important that we can have a look at him, and look at all the aspects of what his position may encounter in the championship. So this morning was a good chance for us to test him in all those aspects, and he looked strong. So I think that Nigel will make a decision sooner rather than later on that.
And is there any update on Rob Atkinson and Andy King? Nigel told me on Tuesday they're having scans. Have you had the results of those scans yet? We have. We're just getting them assessed again and just making sure everything is right with the two of them. It's I don't think that they're going to be out for especially Rob anyway. There was a lot of spasm, back spasm, and his calf was quite sore. So we'll just have another look at that. I don't expect him to be out a long time. Kingy's probably different because he's come back from that injury before, and again it's something you need to let it get settled down. And with the game on Tuesday, as soon as the game was over, our whole mentality was on Luton and getting the team and getting the squad right for that, and again they'll be assessed. Yeah, you're certainly doing the miles at the moment. Luton Tuesday, Preston Saturday. I thought they made West Brom look very ordinary last night. What are you expecting from Ryan Lowe's side on Saturday? Well, he's made a really good impact, hasn't he, since he's come in? But I keep talking about us. Everyone was saying that Luton were on a good run and playing a different way and high energy and strong. And I thought we played very, very well in that game. And we'll be thinking about ourselves going in. We know it's going to be very, very difficult. They're going to be on a high out there with West Brom, but welcome to the Championship. Every game is different, but we'll go into it after a good performance, not a good result, but a good performance, and it's something that we have to build on. And I think you will get the results the more consistent your performances are. And at the moment, you can see a more consistent performance from a lot of our lads. So we're really looking forward to the challenge, and it'll be a great game. Well, it's nice to catch up with you. Thank you for your time. Thank you, Richard. Thanks.
Hi, Curtis.
Hi, how you doing, Richard?
Yeah, I'm alright, thank you.
Richard.
Nigel didn't really want to elaborate on the positives of the performance on Tuesday, but what was your assessment? What aspects impressed you in the game?
I thought we played well. I thought we moved the ball well, and I thought we're always going to look a threat with those three front players in the team. I thought the two young boys in midfield did exceptionally well. Sometimes you're thinking that you need maybe an experienced one in there with them, because in the Championship, playing midfield in the Championship is hectic. to say the least. It's physical. It's non-stop and it's never-ending running, isn't it? But I thought that Han Noah and Alex Scott did really well in there. I think there were positives from it. So I think there was probably a lot more positives than negatives. I think that sometimes after the games it's very, very difficult, isn't it, Richard? Because it's very raw. You're so raw. You're thinking. You sat down and you're thinking, how did we lose that? You know, what happened there? We know what's happened, but it gives you a chance then after a couple of days to settle down and look at it and there's a lot of positives from it. And I think if we can cut out those silly mistakes that we said in set pieces or do our job a little bit better, I think that we'll see a lot more points. But we won't get the point if our performances aren't good. So it's not just about set pieces. If we can keep our performances good and consistent in this league, you get 3 wins, you can be anywhere. Mm-hmm. So it's one of those things that we have to get back to back. We've got to be real consistent in that performance and not think after one game that we've cracked it, because you haven't, because there's another 45 of them battles to come, as you know. So, you know, we will take the positives from it, and I thought there were a few. I thought we passed the ball well from the back. I thought we stepped in and we you know, had a boy who's been causing a lot of people a lot of problems, but I thought we intercepted a lot of stuff into him and played from there. Defensively, so I think that, you know, it's not all negative, and we reinforce that with the guys.
So it must be incredibly frustrating because you're playing very well. Particularly the last 6 or 7 weeks, the performance has been really good. You can see like the building blocks are in place, but I think conceding the soft goals, is that just a lapse of concentration? Is it a bit of fatigue? What do you put it down to?
I wouldn't say fatigue. I wouldn't say fatigue as such. Yes, it is hard, but it's hard. It's hard. I'm playing a championship. Don't come to England if you're going to feel tired all the time, you know, because it's just like battle after battle and it's 100 miles an hour. And I think it's sometimes just that little lack of concentration. I think it's sometimes the assessment of the situations of, you know, when we're defending. That's it, we're defending as 11. It's not just the back 3 or the goalkeeper. That's what it is. As soon as we give the ball away, we should be all defending. You know, that's what it is. And when we play, you can't start playing if the defenders don't want to get on the ball. So everyone says the attackers are doing well, but how do we get it to them? So that starts in the back. So you need 11 to attack, you need 11 to defend. So I think that for me, it's sometimes it's an individual decision. I think there's so many decisions that you have to make as a player in every game. And at the moment, I don't think a lot of the time at times I'm making the wrong decisions. But again, it's something that we cannot get away from. You have to be able to do it. You have to do it. And if you can't do it, then it's professional sport. You've got to move aside for the next guy that can. So everyone's getting an opportunity to stake their claim. Yes, we've got the building blocks, but you go to work and we all go to work and we want to be successful. So that's at the end of the day. It's better for you to write about good things, and it's better for us when we're getting good results and then everything that we work on the training pitch comes to fruition.
And going back to the set pieces, is it a case of just putting in more hours in the training ground, or do you need an extra player in the kind of the ilk and the mould of Martin and Callas and Baker to prevent that? Was that kind of the thought process behind Timm Klose training with the club?
Well, I think so, and again, he gives a little experience, and I think that sometimes having that, you know, people, it's fantastic. People have been talking about age. What age is he? I'm thinking, well, Gary Cahill's 37. He's doing okay. You know, McFadzean and Coventry are flying. McFadzean's 36. Curtis Davis is 36. Jagielka's just got to move from Derby to Stoke at 39, 40. So please don't tell me about age. Sometimes it's that little bit of nous that you have, that little bit of experience and that little bit of organisational experience that you have. You know, when we go back to the 2 goals here today, we've got to remember that Zach, who would have been one of our bigger guys, was off the pitch for the first goal. So again, that just leaves a space that maybe should have been covered quickly, and that experience to get people into those areas he's missing, we need to get, because he was closest to the goal, his position. So it's great standing on the outside looking in, but maybe I might have to take that position. But again, that's organisation. In a couple of minutes, in the heat of the moment, someone kind of calm. We've got no Zach here. Let's get in here, let's do this. Most danger, least danger. So I think there's a few different aspects, but it's something that we have to improve on as you know, as everybody, as a club. We have to do that. And how many points would we have saved? and at many points we're still going to save by that. So it's something that, yes, it's a bit of both. It's people that are going to do it, they're going to organise it, and sometimes it's having a head on a stick, as they say. So it's the manager will make the best decision, or the right decision on that, or what decision he thinks he needs to make.
And the way you're speaking about Klose, it sounds like a pretty much done deal now. He arrives at the club kind of without a club in the last 6 months. How has his fitness been since he's been training with the club?
Yeah. Well, I don't think I've said done deal, Richard. I don't know what you were reading or what you've listened to, mate. But I don't know it's a done deal. I wish it was a done deal if I was a player. I might go and train at some club myself. I might get a contract, but it's not. No, we're not saying it's a done deal. But what he's done is he's been keeping fit. He's been playing well as every club in Europe. If you look, like Basel as well, they've had to cut the cloth a little bit as well. I think, and the squad sizes have gone down a lot more in Switzerland, as they will around Europe. Especially at the end of this season, when the 2 years of COVID, financial aspects of it all come into play. So, but we are where we are when we're if you want to go and get Thiago Silva, you need a few quid. So it's just at the moment, that's where we are at the moment. I think he's come over, he's very, very experienced, knows it, he's fit. The biggest thing, as I said to you, is just very important, because I think that sometimes you can get people and players to go, I've done so much in the game, I'm not coming over on trial. I'm not coming to do it. I've got 2 promotions, I've played in the Premier League. Do you know what I mean? I'm not coming, but he wanted to come over and show that he's been fit. There's been different reasons why he hasn't been playing. And he wanted to come over and let us look at him in the flesh. And he's trained well. But as I said, he's not 23. He's 33. So I remember being 23 when I played, and I didn't even breathe. I remember when I was 33, when I probably needed a stretcher to get off the pitch. So it's one of them different things. So, but we know what we're seeing. We know what we need. We know what we get. And at the end of the day, initially it'll be short term.
You mentioned Alex Scott earlier. He's been pretty impressive in the middle since he's come in against Fulham and against Luton. I know you're quite short in the right wing back position at the moment, but going forward, do you hope to play Alex Scott more in the middle in the next few weeks?
Well, I think it's wonderful for the manager, isn't it? Have someone that doesn't look out of place. I think he played right back at the end of the game. And he went to right wing back, and he played centre midfield, and he played 10 the previous week. So I think he's a player that gives us a lot of options. There's no doubt that I think his real qualities will be around the centre of the pitch, whichever positions they are. But he's got to get into the team. Being a boy wonder is good, but a consistent boy wonder that he is even better. So he's just got to keep plugging along and playing in his game. And no one knows that he plays as a 6 with England. Plays a 6 and an 8 with England, and he sits in and he gets it and sprays the ball. So I think for him it's great that he's getting the game time. He's doing very, very well, and for us it's brilliant that we've got different options. You got Joe Williams as well coming back, and from fitness that gives us another option in that midfield area. So Scotty, if you said to Scotty now, if you got him in and said, Scotty, where do you want to play? He'll just tell you, I just want to play. Just put me wherever you want and I'll just play, like a lot of the young lads here.
Thanks for your time, Curtis.
No problem at all, Richard.
Hey, Curtis.
Hi, James. How are you?
Yeah, all good, thanks. Just following on from that, how was Joe in terms of his recovery from that sort of cameo he had?
Yeah, he's been fine. He's been fine. He's been there. We've had to probably hold him back a little bit more than we have. James, you've interviewed him. You know how infectious he is. He trains one day and he says he's 100% fit. He's like, literally, I'm ready now, I'm ready. And you're like, calm down, son. Calm down. It's gradual, because it's Saturday, Tuesday. So he came, there's no bad effects, nothing about it. He's been calm. He's trained hard again today with us. He's available for selection for the weekend. And again, he's got real good qualities, hasn't he? And he's an infectious character. So it's great to have him around, but we've got to be careful and we've got to protect him.
What do you look at in terms of assessing whether or not he's ready to start? Because if he's telling you, I know obviously you're doing your tests and stuff, but what is the, are there tangible things you can look at to say yes, he can start, no, he's not quite ready yet?
Well, I think the numbers are very, very good. You have a consistent level of how many metres you need to cover in the championship game. If you play for midfield for us, you've got the high intensity metres, you've got accelerations and decelerations. So these are all different aspects that will make sure he covers. You'll cover, say you do 200 accels, decels, we may do 300 or 400 to overcook it and make sure. But again, I don't think you can. I love. It's like doing pre-season, James. You do pre-season and you run up a hill in Austria, and you run down and you keep running up it, and you're the fittest you've ever been, and then you play against a 6th division team on the Saturday and you're breathing after 20 minutes and you can't walk. It's literally like that. The game is just so different. You can get people running up and doing this, and you can play an under-23 game, but you can't replicate coming on the last 20 minutes against Luton, where at midfield you're working off seconds, you've got to go and try and win it and stuff. So we hit everything that we can with them, and then we just gauge then how they're feeling. And sometimes you've got to gauge them because as Joe comes back, he says he's great all the time, even when you know he's not. So you've got to calm him down, but then you've got other players that will make sure that they're 100% and they've been in, and when I mean 100%, that they know their body very well. But we know Joe. We know he's very, very good for us. He's great around the dressing room, but he needs games. He needs a consistent run of games, Joe, for himself. For himself more than anything, to prove that he can play. He was playing 39 games a season at Wigan. 36, 39, and that's where he wants to get back to. So that will come, and we have to work on that. Whether it's we rush him through, or we're a little bit more patient with him.
And in that position, part of the field, how's Matty James? You mentioned about Andy King. What's Matty James' status?
Yeah, well, Matty's had the problem with his plantar fascia, which is the muscle of the sole of his foot, which has been very, very sore. So hence, every time you touch the ground, it's sore. Do you know what I mean? So it's like something that we've had to work on. We're settling it down, and we're just gauging it as it goes. We're getting that pain down. Again, JMO's sensible enough guy, but he's desperate to get back in. He loves the games, he loves the playing. He's getting fed up, walking around and stuff. But again, we have to make sure we don't want him coming back. And that's something again that you talk about, James. You've got to gauge that. We can get him to run out on the pitch and do different checks and turning and sprinting and getting down and jumping and headers and stuff. But we need to make sure that it doesn't come back to him like Joe in 20 minutes into a game, where you've rushed it, or we haven't done everything that we can. And I think that's very, very important. He's an important player for us, as Joe is, and I think we're desperate to get them back in, but we've got to be careful.
Last one from me. Sorry to just return to the set piece chat. In terms of how you guys you seem to have a mix of zonal and man marking. Is that fair? You keep certain guys free? No, we have zonal and man mark, and that's probably what it is. It's a mixture of both. Yeah, it's that we don't really change we know where the opposition, we talk about attacking corners, we talk about defensive corners. We look at about 200 of them, So it's funny, I say to the guys, as soon as the game starts, someone's not standing where he should be, and we don't make it up. You don't make it up. We look at it and we say, okay, where can we hurt them? So, yeah, then I think, a lot of the games, we keep talking about the bad bits, but there's been some real good defending on set pieces as well. But when you're getting punished like you had against Luton, it gets highlighted. But we have honestly got some good clips. So I just think that's, we all have to believe that we just don't go home and sit shaking at night and think, oh my God, it's a set piece. So I think it's something that we've got to do. Because I was how much, because you've talked a lot about attitude in terms of, that willingness to keep the ball out there. How much of it is sort of technical, tactical, and how much of it is attitude in terms of defending those sort of situations?
It goes hand in hand, James. It goes hand in hand. It doesn't. I remember years ago working in an academy, and we were releasing a centre back, and he said, "I don't really like heading the ball." And I thought, well, I wish I had known that before, because I think that's it's a big part of the centre back's game. Do you know what I mean? So he's a big guy. He just said, I don't really like heading it. And I just think that we get him into the body positions. We know that people are going to make runs. Some teams have set set plays that they will work off. They've got real strong headers, what we have to do. But again, if I'm looking at Preston or they're looking at us, we're going to see what we do and they may come up with something different. And that's where you've got to have to be switched on. You've got to be ready. You know, maybe that they're pulling the big man away, they're pulling our best header away so they can hit an area. So we need to be aware of that all the time. So it's something it comes hand in hand if I'm honest with you.
Great stuff. Thanks for your time as ever, Curtis.
No problem, thank you.
Hiya, Curtis.
Hi, Jordan, how are you?
I'm good, thank you. Hope you're well. Just want to go on the goalkeeper situation we discussed previously. But obviously with Max O'Leary coming in, I was just wondering what you see as perhaps his key strengths, because I've seen some of the fans say that perhaps he's good with distribution and perhaps a bit more comfortable on the ball, and that obviously suits perhaps their possession-based style of play.
Yeah, I think Bench can play. There's no doubt about it. I just think Mac's overall game over the last few months he's been really good in training, outstanding. Not to say that Bench hasn't. And we are playing a lot more, and it's one of his strengths to get on the ball. And you know, sometimes when you're good on the ball, you do take chances as well. So you need to knock that out of him. But I just think that where we were at that situation, the manager was looking at it and he had a gut feeling, and not a gut feeling, he just had a feeling from looking at all the sessions of the games that this is the direction that they need to go, and he's gone with 100% belief that the kid can step in. And I think you won't know how well they can do till they give it a chance, till they get a chance to play. And if he makes a mistake, it's an honest mistake, and he will make mistakes. He's a young man, and that's what it is, but hopefully he learns from them. There's no doubt his passing ability is very good. He's hit a couple of passes in the last couple of games. My God, it's wonderful. I was thinking, I wish I was able to do that once in my career, but he seems to have that in his locker. So it's very good. But then there's other parts of his game that he has to improve in, like everybody, like Han, like Scotty, like all the young boys, Tommy Conway coming on the other night, and then again some of the senior boys. So I think that what he's done is he's come in and he's grabbed his chance. We're still conceding goals at different times, and for every goal I always think there's 4 or 5 different bad decisions made in it. You know, is he high enough, is he not, is he this and that, but we're looking at every aspect of that. So I think he's deserved his chance. I think he's come in, I think he's done well for an inexperienced championship goalkeeper. I think it hasn't fazed him.
Yeah, definitely as well, because obviously as a goalkeeper, sometimes when you play a game, the only statistic you can be judged on is keeping clean sheets, and obviously even though he's been included in the side, he's not kept a clean sheet. So how is that judged in that situation? Is there an expectation that he's got to keep a clean sheet to keep his place, or is it more of a team thing as well?
No, I think it's a team thing. I think at the end of the day he has to make a save. At some stage everyone's going to go missing. You know, like a defender at some stage has to go 1v1. You know, that's your job, is to defend. The striker going through, and goalies had to hit the target. So I think that we don't judge on that. I think we look at the way of all the aspects of how we want to play and what we do. So we've got all aspects of play that we have attacking wise and aspects of defending. You know, and I think that yes, there's a lot of things to be judged on as a professional footballer. So I think that, you know, like so many of the players, you know, in 2 years' time after playing 60 or 80 championship games, don't tell me they're not going to be better. Look at Han now. I think Han has improved in different aspects of his game, which he has to adapt to, because it's not all just football in the championship. Sometimes it's that energy that he has, and then sometimes it's kind of keeping that energy in check and playing the position that you're in. And I think he's done very, very well with it. So the same with Max. And again, if the manager feels like, you know, he needs to make a change, which I don't, you know, it's not in his mind, he's not thinking about that at the moment. But everybody, when they train Monday to Friday, and that's honest, we have young Josh Hours that's coming in to train with us. And again, you know, he stepped up, and we're saying, well, you're not here as a passenger. You're not here because you're a nice kid. You're here because you've done very well and you may have an opportunity to play. And if the manager thinks you're ready to play, you better be ready.